On this AVNation special, we sit down with Exertis and Almo as Exertis' parent company, DCC, acquires Almo for $600 million. All that and more next on this AVNation special.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is an AVNation special. Exertis and Almo come together. Mr. Mulbright with AVNation was an AVNation special yesterday, as we are recording this. DCC Technology, which trades as Exertis and is a technology distributor and service business, announced its acquisition of Almo Corporation in North America. The acquisition is the biggest yet in the history of the parent company, DCC PLC. With me today, talk about this very acquisition, Mr. Clive Fitzharris from Exertis and DCC. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Very good to be here, Tim.
Thank you so much. And of course, our buddy Warren Chaikin from Almo. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tim, and look forward to talking to you.
Absolutely. So Mr. Fitzharris, you and I just virtually met this morning. You have a slight non-American accent, so let's cover that real quick. You are from Dublin. You are from Ireland. You have been spending some time here in the U.S., obviously. Let's start with kind of the overarching. This is a significant deal in the world of AV. I think it's a significant deal in just mergers and acquisitions in general. Roughly $600 million, right? Why does this deal make sense for your group, for Exertis and for DCC?
Absolutely. No, thanks for the question, Tim. And you can call me Clive. That's
right.
And anyone that meets me should call me Clive. Well, the DCC, and I'll talk a little bit about DCC, and then we'll just switch over to Exertis. DCC is founded in the 1970s, Irish-based, very multinational now. It's we'll have 15,000 employees with the colleagues that we're welcoming from Almo across over 20 countries in Europe, in North America, and a presence in Asia. Our North American story or journey is relatively young. It's we bought our first businesses in North America in 2018, and that's been on the technology side. We have a healthcare business and we have an energy business, all sales and marketing and distribution. So they're all pretty much the same type of operations, but in different industry spaces. And it's been just on a hugely successful journey for us in North America over those 3 years for all of those particular businesses, but particularly the technology business. We bought Stampede, based in Buffalo, New York, in the first acquisition in 2018. A very strong player on the Pro AV side, as your viewers will know. And we followed that very quickly with the acquisition of Jam Industries, which is a Montreal headquartered, but principally a US business, very strong, a leader in pro audio distribution and in musical instrument distribution. And we've added JB&A on the broadcast side last year, and another business called The Music People, which is very strong in pro audio as well. So our growth and development on the technology distribution in those specialist categories has been very, very successful for us. And we've been talking with Warren and his family for nearly all of those 3 years that we've been in North America. And the people fit and the cultural fit and just the level of understanding between us was very strong from the outset, and it's gotten stronger over 3 years. And we're delighted that we'll be able to be talking to you today about consummating that in the deal that we announced yesterday. It's a step change for us as a division, and for Exertis in North America. We'll now have 2.4 billion in revenue, and we'll have 1,400 employees, and what we think is really exceptional leadership positions in consumer appliances, which Almo brings already in our Pro AV and our musical instrument business. And Almo has has really an exceptional Pro AV business, and we'll bring that together with our existing Pro AV business. They're very, very similar in so many respects, and then they have complementarity in other areas, and we'll leverage the best of both organizations to create what we think is the very clear leader and leading specialist Pro AV distribution business in North America for the benefit of our customers, our vendors, and our employees.
So Clive, you actually hit on kind of one of my next questions here, and that is why Almo, right? And you mentioned the fact that a number of years ago you did purchase Stampede, which was at the time a direct competitor with Almo. They did several other things similar. One thing that Almo has that others, at least in the AV space, may not understand or may not realize is, you mentioned it, they have the appliance distribution. They have deals with folks like Best Buy. Why then does that make sense for Exertis to kind of bring Almo together? Is it those extra lines? Is it some of those synergies? Where does this make sense for Exertis?
Well, it makes sense from both perspectives. What we want is leadership positions in chosen specialisms. Yep. Almo already has a leadership position in consumer appliances, and you mentioned Best Buy. It has e-commerce fulfillment, which is very complementary to that. And for those customers and the vendors on the consumer appliance side, we want Almo and the management team to continue to do what they're doing, and hopefully we can add to that and continue the growth story in that leadership position that they have in that specialist area. And then on the Pro AV side, they have a strong position, reasonably equivalent to the existing position that we had in Exertis Pro AV, and just bringing them together just creates that leadership. And for a market like the North American market, the largest consumer and Pro AV market in the world, to have scale and leadership with real specialist focus, we think is just a winning combination.
Warren, I'm going to bring you in on this because Clive mentions the fact that the Almo Pro AV was pretty neck and neck with Exertis, which is remarkable since it's just roughly 11 years old. I think we celebrated the 10-year anniversary in
it's actually 13 years now, believe it
13,
or not.
that's right, because it was 2019.
Yeah.
2018. Yeah, it was a 10-year.
Yeah.
So Almo celebrated 75 years this last year, but the Pro AV is just over a decade. Why did you and your family and your leadership group, why did you guys choose Exertis and choose this path?
We have grown our business very dramatically over the years, and as we kind of reflected in 2021, really it was my parents, myself, decided that the best way to propel our company to the next generation and really cement Almo going forward is partnering with somebody. And we couldn't have found a better partner in Exertis because their philosophies are very similar to ours. We were looking at their website. Actually, one of our managers looked at their website the other day after the announcement and went, did they copy our mission statement, our core values and all that? Because they literally are almost identical. The words are a little bit different, but it is amazing what their philosophy is and our philosophy is. And that's really a driving point. And it's also because by doing this acquisition, the management team, my parents included, are going to be part of this going forward. Yeah. So they're giving us the ability to grow our business. They're giving us the ability to continue to run the business and do what we've done best over 75 years and go from basically family owned to now family run.
Warren, I want to take a slight detour here for just 1 second, because both you and Clive have mentioned culture and the fact that the cultures have fit. Talk for a second about that movement to family run and the importance of those cultures fitting. Because as somebody who ran a family business, right, those folks tend to become your family, right? The employees tend to become your family. Yep. And the kind of the thought process of making sure that they're taken care of, because there's an emotional consideration here that maybe some folks don't appreciate, right? Because if you're the head of Ford, you're the head of Ford, and you're going to make decisions, and sometimes they suck, and whatever. But when you're a family-run business, there is something, I don't know. There's an emotional attachment there that I think sometimes folks don't get.
Yeah, so we have a very close culture. We will actually call it the Almo Fit culture, which starts with family, integrity, innovation, and teamwork. And we have a lot of long-term employees at Almo. It was quite emotional yesterday when we talked to them. But when they also heard that Gene and Roz, who are my parents, and myself are staying in place, and we truly believe in what we can do to make this business even better, everyone took a deep breath. And you're right. I mean, it's different when you're dealing with a Fortune 1000 company or a Fortune 100 company. My dad sends out birthday cards to every one of our employees, and he's done that for years. And guess what? He's going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
We go around to our employees all the time. We've done, it's been very hard through COVID to make sure that we have that connection, but we've done it in an amazing way as far as just connecting with our employees, celebrating them, making sure they understand that they're really the most important asset we have. And what I'm truly excited about is as we integrate Exertis Pro AV with Almo Pro AV, that we're going to have more colleagues that are going to be part of the Almo family going forward, in whole, or the companies going forward, and we're going to be able to continue that philosophy and that culture in this combined company.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Tim,
Yeah.
I might just add, if it's okay, because I did a talk about the cultural fit and the people fit. The overall organization, 15,000 employees in our group, and you look at that and you go, wow, that's big, and that's a big corporate. But less than 1% of those employees are in our head office.
Oh, wow.
We're sales and marketing and distribution, and our view is that happens in the market, and the people that are making the decisions have to be in the market. They can't be in head office. Like head office is, and we have a purpose statement which is enabling people and businesses to grow and progress, and that talks at two levels. First, it talks to the people and businesses that are in Almo and other businesses. We as a group are enabling their success and their growth and progression. And then it talks then to the customers in those respective markets, that the Almo business and others within our organization, they're enabling their customers and the businesses that they serve to grow and progress. And there's a sort of there's a humbleness in it as well, and there's a genuineness, and just all the interactions that we've had with Warren and the Chaikin family and the people in Almo. It's just, you walk out of it and you go like, geez, it's just remarkable. We're finishing each other's sentences. It's quite unique.
That is very unique, and the fact that you guys had a similar mission statement is also kind of telling as well. Clive, we're ending 21, right? And not that anybody's keeping score, but damn near 2 years into this pandemic. Why does this make sense? Why to do this acquisition now, right? What is it? Is it just kind of, this is where the stars aligned? Is it, hey, we wanted to get this in before 22 hit? Why this acquisition now? Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit, the timing needs to be right, and we completed 2 acquisitions. I talked about JB&A and the Music People during COVID, which was a good achievement. And I think with the COVID easing, I'll say we'll be able to travel a little bit more and get on the ground, and just our general positivity in relation to our success in North America and the economy reopening with vaccine rollout, etc. It just, the timing just made a lot of sense for us. Warren will have a view from the Chaikin perspective.
Yeah, I would say almost exactly the same thing, that we're looking forward, and we wanted to cement Almo's legacy in our future. And this just seemed like the right time with the right people and the right company.
No. Warren, I want to start with you on this, and then Clive, have you kind of comment on the impact that this has on folks outside of your companies, right? Obviously, you have partners, you have customers, you have the dealers that you support, but also your manufacturing partners, right? So we'll kind of wrap up here, and Warren, talk for a second about those dealers and the one thing that Almo specifically has grown over the last probably 5, 6, 7 years is the service part, right? Yes, certainly 100%. You guys distribute some pretty killer products, but you also help those dealers with the servicing, with the engineering, even with the programming of some of those products. So how does this help your customers?
Well, let's talk about Exertis's customers first, because there is very little overlap between our customers, which is shocking. So now all of a sudden, day one, we're going to be able to offer all those services that you just mentioned to the customers that we just didn't touch. And you always realize how big the industry is, but you don't actually see it until you do something like this. On the other hand, I know there are a number of services and value-added things that Exertis does that we're not doing. So we're going to take the best of both. We're going to figure out as we go through the integration what each of us does better and combine those things. So at the end of it, everyone's going to get a better product from a service level. And we'll also have some other products to be able to distribute as well.
Something you said there really does strike me. I would have lost a bet if you asked how much overlap the two organizations had. Right?
I did lose a bet.
So,
more than half.
This is why I like Warren, right?
Yeah.
Well, more than half of the customers are unique.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clive, from Exertis' standpoint, same kind of question, right? How does this help the customers?
Well, the bringing together the two organizations, I talked about them being very similar in scale and in many more respects, and this is really a growth story from our perspective. We want to bring those two organizations together. We want to keep the national coverage, that sales expertise, all those relationships that have gone to making both individual companies great, and that will make the collective even greater. We'll be able to leverage the infrastructure of the Almo organization together with what we already have in Exertis in terms of servicing those customers with products and services and product availability and the vendor overlap, but there's complementarity on the vendor side as well, and we'll be able to offer those customers just great bundling solutions and packages and greater agility and flexibility where it makes sense. And we think on the vendor side, we're going to, we're holding the market position, and we want to hold all the business and grow from there. And just that extended reach for our vendors and the relationship that they have with both organizations, I think is just going to be very additive for the vendors, which will ultimately be beneficial for the customers.
No, Warren, Clive already kicked it off. Talk about how this helps the manufacturing, your vendor partners. You do have, and we kind of talked about this, obviously the Exertis and the overarching DCC, they distribute not just technology, not just AV, but also some other stuff. You guys, Almo has done not just AV, but certainly the appliance market, which I could argue is 100% technology anymore, because if you go, you can buy us, you can order food from your fridge. Okay, that's all I'm saying. How does this coming together help your vendors?
You can look at it two different ways, right? You can look at it from, say, outside the Pro AV space first.
Yep. Because
we now have more firepower that we can help them grow their business, right? Exertis doesn't have that infrastructure or that reach into those channels today. So in the appliance and in our e-commerce channel, they don't have that reach. Now, all of a sudden, with the number of things that they do, it's going to allow us to really develop additional relationships and deeper relationships with our current partners. So from that standpoint, that's one side. On the Pro AV side, a little bit different, because for the most part, we know all the vendors that we're dealing with. There's a lot, with the major brands, there's overlap because there's only so many players there. But with both of our philosophies as far as growing the business, being value add, we're not being just value add to our customers, we're also being value add to our vendor partners. And I think by putting these two companies together, we're going to be able to tap different resources, be able to grow the business differently, be able just to give them different options that they never had before. Because again, we do similar things, we don't do exactly the same things. And ultimately, we're looking to do the best of both of them so that we can make our vendor partners stronger and do a number of things that they've never really thought about doing in the past.
Well, one of the things that and I've learned this both talking with Warren, talking with his team on the Prairie side, but also other distributors. One thing that distribution has the ability to do is to take a look at a solution as a whole, right? And they can go to a display, a mount, and maybe a video playback system, right, as a whole, and take all those three vendors together and go, how about this? Because the three of them would have never thought of it because they don't have vision of that, right? That is one of the things that this coming together makes really, really interesting. Clive, I want to ask you one last question as we wrap up here. You mentioned the integration part, and this, you may not know this, I have no idea. If I'm a customer or I'm a vendor, what should I expect over the next 6 months, over the next year, or maybe the next 2 years?
So we're focused on bringing Almo into the larger Exertis family, and as we've talked about already, there's an appliance and a premium appliance and an e-commerce area to that. We're very respectful of our antitrust obligations, and we didn't do anything in relation to detailed planning on integration. We're starting that work now, and we would hope in early next year to give a lot more clarity to your viewers and others in terms of what to expect. But what won't happen is there won't be any drop in service and serving their needs for the benefit of the vendors. We'll announce timing in relation to when that will happen in due course, but it's sometime in the first half of next year.
All right, gentlemen, thank you both so much. Warren Chaikin from Almo. We talked about this a little bit, but both Exertis and Almo are still are working. So Warren, if somebody wants to connect with you or Almo, how do they do that?
You can reach me at wchaikin@almo.com, or you can reach our website at almo.com as well.
All right. You should also connect with Warren on LinkedIn. I'm just saying, he is one of my favorite people on LinkedIn. And we're both hockey fans, so that's another reason. Clive, very nice to meet you, albeit virtually. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to get together in real life. But if somebody wants to connect with you, if you want to throw that out there, or Exertis, how do they do that?
They can email me directly. So cfitzharris@dcc.ie. And I look forward to meeting many of your viewers at industry events in the year ahead.
As we record this, we are still planning on going to ISE unless the Spanish government locks us out. So we will hopefully see you guys there. For us, for AVNation, don't follow me on the Twitters, but go by the website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. You'll find stuff like this and a whole lot more. All that and more at AVNation.tv. AVNation.tv.